Hey guys, Toast here. Basically, I messed around with the Library of War a little bit earlier today. I have 5 Tombs of War, so I'm able to level one skill up to its maximum of +5, and I wanted to figure out what is the best thing for me to level to +5. And in order to figure this out, I decided I would do experiments using Spire and Royal Arena. Royal Arena has the advantage of results are a little more consistent since it's only one more troop, but also because that's not how combat really works, because you're not going to send just one tier of troops. It's only so helpful. And then the results we're seeing here is also from Spire, sending a mixed march of infantry, cavalry, and bowmen into another person who's sending infantry, cav, and bowmen. The other guy had better stats than me. As you can see, he beat me in all these, which is what I was looking for. I wanted someone who was stronger than me. Wasn't completely wiping my formation, so that I would actually be able to see if I was getting improvements or not. And this is the results of them. And the very quick version is the infantry, whether that's you're going to be, in my case it was T12, my best infantry, or the all infantry defense, had the biggest improvements for me. Both in because they had significantly reduced my losses. They dropped my losses from 320,000 to 220,000. So that's a big difference right off the bat, and most of the reason why it did this is it made it so that way my infantry were significantly stronger, and then I wasn't losing as many bowmen or cav. Mostly it was resulting in less cav losses. But by making my infantry longer, they were able to do their job longer, and they were able to make it so my damage dealers were able to stay alive longer. So even though the natural kind of thinking might be, level your bowmen damage so that way they're stronger, and there's certainly, you can see that it did still give me improvements and did still give me big jumps in my kills. They were not overall the biggest gain, as that went to the T12 infantry and the all infantry defense. So if you kind of want that quick, be told what to do, I would say do your best infantry and then do the all infantry defense, and then come back and do your individual bowmen. Even though this cav defense to attack did have a significant jump up in the kills, just because I personally am not a big fan of cav outside of using them in Spire, I would not put a high priority on that. My focus here is probably more so on kill event or KVK, where you want to minimize your losses. So you're able to keep your troops alive longer, you don't have to rebuild as much. And for those of you that don't have KVK and KE overlap with each other, you don't get that benefit of gaining the 300% to rebuild what you lost. It's more important to minimize your losses so you're not really dropping down that much in power, especially now that Sanctum really gives the defender a big bonus. So you can just kind of quickly look over this and see what improved what wasn't that effective. Like the bowman defense to attack made almost no difference in the troops that I lost, because even though I killed a lot more, my bowmen then became weaker and they were dying to the cavalry a lot easier. So it did get a nice increase in kills, but it was not as good in terms of lowering my losses. You can see the T11 was fairly neutral in terms of losses. Since my bowmen were killing a lot more, they were able to kill the opposing attackers faster. But they still lost a good bit. So that's just kind of summarizes why I feel you want to start off doing your infantry. And this also has kind of the secondary effect of, since your infantry are stronger, you don't need as many of them, and you can kind of complement that just by sending more bowmen or more cav, depending on what your formation is. But again, you can just kind of glance over what was here, what worked, what didn't work, what was more effective, what was less effective. But just that short version is do infantry and then come back and do your bowmen. And then when we did Royal Arena, we did the same test in there. We had someone who I couldn't beat, and then I just did a little run through of each of the talents and what had the biggest gains, what had the biggest differences. And here we do see that the bowman defense to attack did have a bigger gain in the loss improvement for this year. And we actually can see that for my Royal Arena, the all cav defense, which was very mediocre in the Spire test, actually had the best results here, but that just was mostly the result of the person that I was facing, and they were doing a lot of damage to my cav, so making my cav stronger resulted in them losing a lot less, and then gave a slight increase in the kills by them staying alive longer. But again, this is very circumstantial. I wouldn't really say that the best thing to do is your all cav defense. It just worked in this specific test instance. I would still favor doing your top tier of infantry in the all infantry defense, and then coming back and doing your bowman stuff. Again, the all bowman defense to attack was more effective of a consistent green increase, meaning it was better compared to the other stuff. And you also can see the cav defense to attack and the T11, which also reduces, I believe, cav health to turn into attack. Since those made my cav weaker, they resulted in me losing even more troops and killing even less troops. So they were actually worse than doing nothing. So just something to keep in mind if you're doing any of those, like the if you're doing those cav stats where it reduces your defense or health. If you attack someone who is able to do damage to your cav, which it seems if the person is all T12, it seems that they do damage to your cav, you're going to be weaker in that regards because you're making your cav more vulnerable. But for the most part, it lines up with the same stuff that we saw in the spire test, where increasing your infantry is going to have the biggest difference. And again, this wasn't me trying to maximize my formation. It was the exact same formation against the exact same opponent. So all these formations could have been made a little bit better, and that would showcase the most in these infantry ones, because I could have sent significantly less infantry, and thus I could have sent more bowmen and more cav. So I could have gotten an even bigger increase in my kill score along with the loss improvement. But it wasn't something I wanted to spend that much time in trying to maximize something, and I felt the best results were just to use the same march against the same opponent and see what the differences were. So again, just that kind of, to summarize, is that these stats do seem to be multiplicative. As you can see, these all are fairly significant changes that you wouldn't see if they were just a plus 15%. So it does seem to be that these are times 7.5 or times 15 or times 12, depending on what the specific stat will max at. So this does mean that these are going to be very, very important. I imagine as these start to get more popular, you're going to have a lot of people complaining about why did they lose this attack and that attack because they have better stats. And a lot of it is now going to come down to not only formation, but also how you have these war talents set up. So it's going to be important for us to understand what works together, what complements each other, what to work on. And that was kind of what my goal here was, is basically what is the increase from doing each of these individually. And that kind of gives me a groundwork of where do I want to point my stats into. So that's going to be for me, I max my T12 infantry to +5 once I was all done with this. My next 5 will go into all infantry defense. And then my next 5 after that will go to T11 bowmen. And then I might come back into the all bowmen defense to attack. At that point, I'll probably want to do a little more experimenting around. But that will also be a while because I'm not going to spend any more for these war tomes, even though they are potentially really important. I just fundamentally don't want to give this game any more money than I need to. So hopefully this helps you guys make your decisions. As always, if you have questions, ask in the comments. Otherwise, thank you for watching.